Hello, my name is Ann Fells. This is my creative project reflection video. I'm presenting my Gordon State College ID here. Um, Thank you for joining me as I talk a little bit about my project. For this project, my process was a little bit more shifted around than I had really intended it for it to be, especially with my timeline and how assignments and other responsibilities came about and demanded my attention. However, I feel like each piece came together in the best way it could for this project for where I was in certain things. Um, in the beginning, I did some research on ballots and technicalities and how to structure my work. And it's very interesting. I found out that different uh, ballots are actually in modern society where I thought that they weren't, that it was more of a bardic thing or an Middle Ages creative writing piece. Anywho, so then I struggled with a few ideas. I tossed some around. I wrote. I erased all sorts of things. What I ended up using, I wrote in about 15 minutes while I was waiting for my brother to come downstairs so we could go to the store one Sunday afternoon. And it's what I ended up using for my piece and for the whole, which was really cool to me and a little shocking because I certainly intended to spend more time on that. But I shared it with friends and family, and I got wonderful feedback from it. And like, this is enough. This is what you need to say. So that's what I have. And that's when my close family friend, who's like an uncle to me, he put it in an AI program where it designs music and singing voices for certain pieces. So he put my words in there and came up with several options for us to look from and for me to finally choose one. And the last one that we talked through and went through, we is the one I used for my final project, which I found was the most fitting one for a ballad. Um, After that, the choreography process was definitely not as cut and dry as I anticipated, but and I didn't get to spend as much time on it as I would have liked to. But I feel like the improvisational nature that it turned out to have, it was felt like it was so much more vulnerable and so much more of my heart, just pouring out with the words and the music and just feeling it with my body and moving through it. It was really special for me. But I did work with a close dance friend a few times, and she and I talked through choreography and had some set pieces in there to, you know, help give it some structure and a basis. But overall, it's a very vulnerable process. I don't really share very much of my creative writing. I do have some stored away in different places. I feel like a little bit like Emily Dickinson herself in that, although certainly not as good, I would imagine. But I'm just, it's a very challenging thing for me to be so vulnerable and to share my dance and to write something to dance to. It was very scary, but it was a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad that I pushed myself to incorporate these elements together because I feel like it showcases me in in a great way that I am comfortable now sharing with others. So moving on to how this project relates to the course. In Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson, which is what this whole project is based around. Nature is everywhere in that poem. The dove is what represents the hope that the narrator has in the storms and the trials and these struggles of life that is so selfless and giving and strong, even though it seems weak. And it's like the tiniest little flicker of hope in this tiny little bird that's so fragile seeming and so breakable, but is unbending and is so wonderful and selfless and beautiful in those things. Um, so the nature of it is very romantic, and the romanticist emphasis on nature in different pieces like Emerson and Thoreau, and as they wander through forests in a different mindset, but it handles the spiritual nature of the natural world as the reader sits alone, the isolated area, and is quiet and is away from the mechanical world, the industrial world, where there's voices all around, there's machinery all around, there's noise everywhere, and it's that moment to let go of the anxieties, the worries, the stressors that are around you, and to find that peace in that moment. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.